this Thursday, I will face something scarier, more terrifying than anything I faced in my life so far. Turning 30. Turning 30.
Turning 30.
Turning 30.
Turning 30.
Turning 30.
So I've seen this trend resurfacing on TikTok lately, and I'm pretty sure I did it as a live stream years ago now. But I kind of want to see if my answers have changed, if I can even find that live stream. I don't even know when it was or what I would have called the live stream. But I don't want to intro it anymore. You can tell by the title what we're doing, because I got a lot of years to get through now. Just get right into it, starting with the magical year I was born, 1992. There are some pretty good movies that came out this year. Silence of the Lambs, Candyman, Bram Stoker's Dracula, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I don't care what y'all say, I love that movie so much. But for my favorite movie of that year, I'm gonna have to go with Dead Alive / Brain Dead. It's goofy, it's campy, and has excessive blood and gore. And I think that describes me pretty well, actually. Two movies that absolutely influenced my personality came out this year, and those are The Nightmare Before Christmas and Hocus Pocus. Obviously, I didn't watch them that year that they came out because I was too young to probably even understand those movies. But those aren't horror movies though. And technically neither is my official choice for favorite movie of 1993, and that is Jurassic Park. I fucking love this movie. It's got dinosaurs, Jeff Goldblum, and perhaps one of the best movie scores ever composed, in my humble opinion. I will say though, the first time I rode the Jurassic Park ride at Universal Studios, I did get so scared that I cried. So it kind of counts as a horror movie for me. This was a formative year in my movie watching career. My first ever movie theater experience when my mom took me to go see The Lion King, and thus a cinephile was made. That one also has an absolutely brilliant score also, I might add. But for horror, it's kind of slim pickings. I'm not gonna lie. I think for this one, I'm gonna have to go with In the Mouth of Madness. It's a weird AF movie, but I find the journey it takes us on enjoyable every time I watch it, even though it's just diving deeper and deeper into the insane. Honorable mention goes to Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I think majority of the internet, I could be wrong, doesn't like this movie, but I really enjoy it. I had a tough time picking for this year also. I can't resist an anthology, so Tales from the Hood almost clinched the spot here. If it weren't for Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight, which also came out this year, and you simply cannot beat the iconic trio of Jada Pinkett Smith, Billy Zane, and William Sadler. The whole movie is a vibe, just like yours truly. All right, I'll save the dramatics for this one. You all know that I chose Scream as my favorite movie of 1996. I'm nothing if not predictable. But there are some fantastic movies that came out this year as well. You have The Craft and The Frighteners, both of which are in my top favorite movies of all time. And you can't forget From Dusk Till Dawn, which also came out that year. It was just a really good year for horror, apparently. There are also some great choices in 1997. Scream 2 came out this year. I Know What You Did Last Summer, Event Horizon. But I'm gonna take a turn here and pick a movie that's a relatively recent watch for me. I watched it for the first time a couple of years ago, but that is Perfect Blue. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's an animated psychological thriller about a Japanese pop star that quits her group to shed her good girl image while dealing with obsessive and scary fans. It's twisty, it's turny, and the ending had my jaw on the floor. I highly recommend this one. Easy, urban legend. I don't think I need to explain this one further. Okay, 1999. This answer is gonna be twofold. There were so many great movies that came out this year. Maybe it's because everyone thought the world was gonna end, so they figured let's make some great movies so we can go out with a bang. So I can respect that. So if we're going with an actual horror movie, it's The Blair Witch Project all day. Movie scared the fuck out of me. It still scares the fuck out of me. But I also have to just make it a tie with The Mummy because I love that movie so fucking much. If I was making a list of movies that influenced my personality the most, The Mummy would be number one. Okay, so the year 2000. Sweet, we didn't all die. I love how some of the movies that came out were just so perfect for that fact, like Final Destination, with this idea that we escaped death but it's gonna come back for us eventually, or like Ginger Snaps, where the main characters romanticize death, and that's why Ginger Snaps is my favorite for this year. I love the connection of a menstrual cycle, aka a moon cycle, to lycanthropy. Is it a low-hanging comparison? Maybe, but I love it. I'm gonna get so much shit for this answer. Jason X. Y'all should be used to me forming unhealthy attachments to not great movies simply because of nostalgia by now. It's low-key a stupid movie, but I love these movies because they take my mind off the fact that we live in a hellscape where elected officials just simply don't care about us. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer, and we're really just tiny, minuscule specks on an already tiny speck, just floating in nothingness, a nothingness that is expanding constantly, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So let me watch the stupid movies, okay? Sorry, I didn't mean to get so aggressive with that. So keep that little minor breakdown in mind while I tell you what my favorite movie of 2002 is. Queen of the Damned. I think that choice speaks for itself. We're not even halfway through the list yet.
Oh, I'm like the Crypt Keeper!
If you're still here, comment what your favorite movie of 2003 specifically is. I'll be excited to see the comments because there were some pretty good movies that came out this year. And this was a tough choice for me also because on one hand, Kate Beckinsale in Underworld was a gay awakening for me. But I also really love House of a Thousand Corpses. I'm gonna have to go with House of a Thousand Corpses. Captain Spaulding is winning me over on this one. All right, so for 2004, you might think that my love of So Bad They're Good movies would lead me to pick Cursed. I do love that movie. I'm gonna go in a different direction for this one and pick the US remake of The Grudge. It easily has to be one of the first times like I can remember being scared out of my mind while watching a movie. And this is probably where my appreciation of slower, less jump scary movies started to form. 2005 was a good year for horror fan Vicky. This was the year I was old enough to start being dropped off at the movie theater every Friday night by my parents and hang out with my friends and sneak into R-rated movies, which of course they didn't know about, otherwise they wouldn't have dropped me off at the movies and left me to my own devices. But this was the beginning of my horror obsession that involved going to the movie theater and seeing new horror movies. And in honor of that, I have to choose House of Wax. It's perhaps the first R-rated movie that I snuck into. It's got a heavy nostalgia factor for me. Jared Padalecki getting his Achilles tendon snipped for the win. Right, so for 2006, I really don't know if I can just pick one. We have The Covenant, iconic. Stay Alive, cringy nostalgia. Hatchet, so fun. The Hills Have Eyes remake, which is a really good remake all told. Behind the Mask, Rise of Leslie Vernon, which is underrated. And of course, Final Destination 3, which is my personal favorite in the franchise. You know what? This is my list. You can't make me choose. I'm picking all of them. My answer is all of the above. Okay, now we're halfway through. Sheesh. This is another really great year for horror. Could easily refuse to choose one for this year also, but I'm gonna go with tried and true Trick or Treat. I'm still not tired of this movie. I've slowly been making it part of my personality, and I keep saying that and I really don't know what I mean. I think I as I was writing my notes, this is just such a long video that I just started like stream of consciousness writing by this point. Another easy year. The Strangers. I don't even need to think about it. I still remember the first time I watched this movie. It's burned into my brain forever, and I find it just as scary as the first time I watched it. All right, we have some really good choices in 2009. There was a lot of movies I saw in theater for the first time. Jennifer's Body, Zombieland, Orphan, Drag Me to Hell, The Haunting in Connecticut. I don't know if this is gonna be controversial or not, but for my favorite pick of this year, I have to go with Friday the 13th. I remember watching this in theaters and being completely floored by that cold open. It was a good cinephile moment for me where I was just like, whoa, like filmmakers are so cool. They like really had me going there. I don't know why I started putting on this voice when I did that. And now we've reached the year where I graduated high school. Weirdly, whenever I think about that, the first movie that pops into my head is the remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street, which I all know pretty much everybody hates. And if you don't hate it, good for you. The only reason I remember that so clearly and so specifically is because I saw it on the very last day of high school for me. It was the seniors' last day and they let us out super duper early. So my friends and I went and got lunch and then we went to the movies and saw this. Seeing this all over the screen on your last day of high school, you know, kind of gets burned into your brain. Anyways, my actual favorite movie from this year is Tucker and Dale versus Evil. At one time, I might have said Cabin in the Woods for this year, and while I still really like that movie, I think I have to go with You're Next for my #1 pick here. I think either choice is self-explanatory. When I was looking at the list of movies that came out in 2012, I gotta say I wasn't really stoked on any of them. Not that there were no good ones, but I just didn't immediately pick one out as like, ooh, that was my favorite of this year for sure. So I guess I'll go with Sinister. That feels so mean to say, like, I can't pick any other one, so I guess I'll choose you. All right, for 2013, I think I'm gonna go with another remake, and that is Evil Dead, which I still think is an incredibly solid remake. The year I started YouTube, so many cringy moments. Luckily, I had a lot of good horror to talk about this year. And it really pains me not to pick As Above, So Below because I love that movie so much. But I simply must choose What We Do in the Shadows. It's just so freaking good, and it's not any less hilarious to me than the first time I watched it. It's one of those movies that I keep making people watch. Like as soon as I find out that they haven't watched it, I make them watch it. Every time something funny happens, you like look over and make sure that they're laughing at it and finding it as hilarious as you do. All right, I'm torn for 2015. On one hand, we have Deathgasm, which is gory and funny and fun. And there's The Witch. And I remember being so stunned watching it for the first time in theaters. Definitely the first like fancy horror movie I've seen. That's my own little term for elevated horror. I think I'm gonna go for the fancy horror on this one and choose The Witch. I kind of have to. I wrote like a whole essay on this movie getting my film studies degree. Easy, Train to Busan, no question. A lot of good movies in 2017. I'm kind of feeling drawn to the anthologies right now, so I'm gonna go with Ghost Stories. I think that not that many people like this movie. I could be wrong, but I really enjoyed it. 2018 was rough. Immediately when I Googled it, was a whole lot of no. There were so many movies, including The Farm, which is one of my top videos on my channel of all time. But there were some really good movies that came out this year also, so I feel like I may have to call a tie for 2018. I really can't choose between Hereditary and Suspiria. Isn't getting older supposed to come with superpowers? Like you're an adult and you can make decisions? Not 30 as of me filming this video or as of the release of this video. If I had made this video after the fact, mature Vicky, she would have made a clear decision right away. Ah, fuck. We have Little Monsters, Us, and The Lodge that all came out this year. I guess Little Monsters is more of a comedy than anything, so I'll go ahead and not choose that one. The other two, can I just say that the real winner was horror fans that year? I I can't pick, it's another tie, okay? Don't make me choose between those two. Not a mature 30-year-old yet, so I'm calling a tie for this one because you can't make me choose. You just can't. Yeah, it's gonna be The Invisible Man for me on this one. So good. Even my mom liked that one, and she hated newer horror movies because she found them too scary. So yeah, Invisible Man. Right, last full year on this list, and I'm gonna have to give it to Malignant. I know some of y'all just rewound the video to make sure you heard that right. I hated most of 2021. Just for me, it fucking sucked. It was one of the worst years ever, and Malignant was just the dose of stupid horror movie that I needed. It reminds me of the type of horror movies that I was obsessed with when I was in middle school and high school, and then when I watch them back now, I'm like, wow, this is really bad, but I loved them at the time. All right, and finally, 2022. Obviously the year isn't over yet. Still a few new releases that have already come out this year that I still haven't gotten around to, and then of course many more to come as we move into the end of the year. But right now I'm kind of thinking that Men is my favorite so far. I like the portrayal of misogyny through that incredible body horror bit at the end. I don't think it brought anything new to the table in terms of like the discussion of misogyny. I think the director it was like the light bulb just went off, and this movie was the result. So this was like the bare minimum in terms of the message. I just really like the portrayal of the message. Whew! So there you have it. I'll make this outro short as well because that was probably a super long video. Would love to hear some of your favorites. If any of you want to go all out in the comments and go through each year, please do. I'd love to read it. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here. Become a creepy peep today. I post 2 new videos every week. I do live streams, collabs, all that fun stuff. Probably a review of the Black Phone. I think that's coming up next. So I'll see you very soon for that. Until then, stay strange. Bye.